Hi everyone, I'm Wayne Wright. Welcome to this edition of On Patrol. On today's show, we'll be highlighting the Fulton County Police Department Special Services Unit, who works with the Fulton County Code Enforcement Division to help foster quality communities through various community operations. And later on in our show, we'll talk to Officer Theron Griffin and Officer Adrian Massey. But first, we're joined by Corporal Maureen Smith. Welcome back to the show, Maureen.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, Maureen, tell us about the Special Services Division of the Fulton County Police Department. Just tell us, what is the mission of that department, of that division?
Well, the Special Services is a division within the police department that provide various programs to deter crime in the community. One of the programs is the traffic patrol. Traffic is a unit where they specifically go out and investigate traffic fatalities, and also if they get any instance where they have some complaints on traffic enforcement, they'll go out and provide traffic enforcement in certain areas. We also have the library patrol, and library patrol goes out to the libraries and patrol the libraries to keep the patrons safe and the employees, and they also introduce different programs in the library, such as Stranger Danger, and we introduce McGruff and internet safety and things of that such. Right. We also have the Crime Prevention Unit. The Crime Prevention Unit goes out and educate the community on how not to become a victim of a crime. In that, we introduce the Neighborhood Watch and the Business Watch.
All those are great programs, and I've had the opportunity firsthand to see those programs in action. You know, it's good information for our viewers to know, because most of the times they see police officers as authoritative figures, but they don't realize the additional programs that are offered, such as the library services and COPS program and things of that nature. You guys do a good job with that.
Thank you.
The Special Services Division in recent years has partnered with code enforcement to conduct joint task force sweeps in residential and both business districts. How beneficial has that been for the community?
It's very beneficial, and I've been getting feedback when I go out into my neighborhood watches where they're very, very appreciative of having us working together like that, because code enforcement and crime relate. A safe neighborhood is a well-kept neighborhood and well-maintained neighborhood, and I stress that in my neighborhood watch meetings.
Right. I agree, because I've had opportunity to speak at HOA meetings with the Special Services Unit, and it just provides for a great marriage between the two, especially since we transitioned to police department as of the first of the year of January. And people just like to see us come out together, because crime and code does go together. Other than helping code enforcement enforce code violations, are there other situations in which police assistance may be needed by code enforcement officers?
Yes, certainly. We're there to keep our code enforcement officers safe, because there are times when the community does not embrace the code enforcement officer as they should, just as when they're enforcing code as when we're enforcing crime. It's the same situation. So we're out there to keep them safe and to let them know that we are there for our code enforcement officers.
Right. Speaking on that issue, I think it's a great opportunity for code officers to be aware of criminal elements in the community, because they're out there every day. They also have access to the radio system now that police is on. So it's an extra set of eyes and ears, whereas when an officer is not available, perhaps you have a code enforcement officer who may observe certain things. So oftentimes we hear talk of the broken window theory. Just what is a broken window theory, and what is that all about?
The broken window theory suggests that if there's a broken window in a neighborhood and no one calls or no one repairs that window, then we're gonna have another broken window. It's gonna repeat over and over if no one takes care of it. The same way with junk vehicles. If you don't call on a junk vehicle in your neighborhood, someone else will leave another junk vehicle. So it suggests that a neighborhood that is not well kept will flourish when it comes to crime.
Right. I concur with that also, because we, from a code enforcement perspective, also talk about the broken window theory. You know, if code officers are not on top of certain violations, such as abandoned properties or vandalized properties, you tend to find that the other one, another one adjacent to it becomes vacant, abandoned, vandalized. You have junk cars and things of that nature. So it's very important to stay on top of that. I imagine that the Special Services Division also fosters great relationships with communities in terms of HOA presidents and whatnot. Is that a win-win situation for the citizens as well as the county?
Oh, it definitely is. Community policing is very important, and that partnership is very important. We try and let the citizens know and inform them that the partnership between the police is very essential in keeping crime down.
Okay. Well, Maureen, we thank you for being with us today, and as you go forward to protect our citizens and the community, we would like to commend you for the job you do every day.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, when we come back, we'll talk with Officer Theron Griffin. Stay with us. Welcome back to On Patrol. I'm Wayne Wright. Our topic today highlights the Fulton County Special Services Division and its community operations. And we're now joined by Officer Theron Griffin. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me here.
Theron, in an earlier segment, Corporal Smith talked about the community-oriented policing program known as COPS. How beneficial is this program to the community, and what are some of the other benefits of the program itself?
Okay. Actually, Wayne, this program, the community-oriented policing program, allows for the department to be proactive. It places us within the community, and it allows us to exchange information between the citizens, also to identify target areas of concern, and whereby we can make arrangements or formulate plans of action to go in and try to reduce the crime in that particular area. It also helps us to disseminate information and educate the business owners and the residents.
So basically, the community-oriented policing program starts with complaints from various communities indicating that there's perhaps a spike in crime in a certain area, and that's where you guys delegate your focus to.
Yes, sir. Actually, when we receive a complaint, we will dispatch a special service officer out to the location, and we will meet and greet with the complainant. They will basically exchange information, tell us about what's going on in the community, and we can, like I said, we'll go back and sit down and formulate a plan of action and how we can reduce the crime in that particular area.
Okay, great. I understand that several officers in the Special Services Unit has received great instructional training, which I think stands for Gang Resistance Education and Training. How beneficial is this program, and how does it benefit the community?
Okay, the GRADE program is essential to our community. In 1991, the program was created by the Phoenix, Arizona Police Department and the ATF, and it showed a tremendous decrease in crime. The GRADE program targets elementary school students and middle school students, and basically it places police officers within the schools, and we try to educate and deter our kids from joining the gangs. We offer alternative methods to gang membership, gang violence, gang affiliation, and basically we're trying to, again, take a proactive stand and deter the crime before it actually occurs.
Right. It's interesting that you mentioned a GRADE program, because as an alternative solution to giving our youth alternative means or outlets, that's very important, because we notice that during the summer months when kids have idle time, we notice a spike or an increase in code violations as it pertains to graffiti and destruction of property. On the criminal side, you guys also notice a spike during the summer months when kids are idle and don't have anything to do with their time other than...
Well, you know, Wayne, actually that's the general perception, but actually we have shown a decrease in crime since school stopped. We have a 7% reduction in burglaries, and we have about 3,000 less calls than we had last year at this time.
Good, good. For our viewers who may not be familiar with it, tell us about the Extra Check and Patrol program, which is a program that the Fulton County Police Department offers when citizens travel out of town and perhaps would like to notify the police department to do an extra check and patrol of their premises.
Yes, our extra check and patrol we consider to be very vital. We encourage all of our business owners and our resident owners to contact us and notify us when they're going to be gone for any extended periods of time. And basically they can call or they can come in and fill out a request form, and we will seek to send officers by the residents to check on the residents. They provide contact information for us so that if anything should occur in their absence, we can contact them directly.
Good. Well, I understand that you guys at different times may be utilized as patrol division officers, but sounds like your concentration, your focus is mainly on the community, interacting, interfacing with the community on a day-to-day basis to disseminate information and just to focus on one particular area as opposed to answering normal patrol calls.
Yes, yes. You know, I can truthfully say that this department is very, very, very proactive. And once again, you know, we're concentrating right now on preventing the crime before it actually occurs.
Right. And that's important. That's the same thing from a code enforcement perspective. We feel like if we can sometimes prevent code violations from happening through education, educating our citizens, that's always a route to take. In terms of educating our citizens, I know you do various homeowner association meetings and whatnot. Do you set up informational displays from time to time at various public places like perhaps grocery stores and things of that nature?
Yes, one of the best parts about this is that we can provide the information to the resident and the business owners. We can educate them on how to protect themselves and how to prevent themselves from becoming victims of crimes.
Right. Are the needs different from residential versus business needs? I understand where I've experienced you guys speaking at various business association meetings like the Old National Merchants meeting and places of that nature. How does business differ from residential needs in terms of crime and code?
Well, actually, there's not really a big difference between the business and the residentials. The things that you can do to protect yourself basically would go for a residential and a business. You know, things like the security surveys that we offer free to all of the citizens of South Fulton County. Your alarm systems, we need to make sure that they're up to date and specifically based on the residents or the business, because you're going to have differences involved in the time, the response times, and also a lot of the businesses operate 24 hours a day, so they always have someone on scene. We also offer via our HOAs, we basically give the residents and the business a direct contact with a special services officer. So they can call us directly, email, telephone call, and we try to get back with them within 24 hours to take care of whatever their need is.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff for our viewers to know. In terms of answering alarm calls, I had opportunity to hear you guys do presentation at HOA meetings, and you talk about how when an alarm goes off, the first person to call should not be a relative or should not be a friend. Who should it be?
You know, I'm so glad you mentioned that. You know, I have to go over this numerous times at all of my HOA meetings. It should always be the police first. Go ahead and get the police en route, and then you can call your neighbors or your relatives. But we should be the primary call, the first call, and we will then respond to the call and take care of whatever we need to do.
Is that what I hear you guys sometimes refer to as a call tree? Is that what a call tree is? Or?
The triage.
The triage.
Yes.
Okay.
You know, once again, when you meet with your HOA officer, assigned officer, they can deliver you tons of information regarding the things that you need to do to, again, make yourself safer.
Okay. Well, Officer Griffin, we thank you for being with us today, and make sure you stay safe out there as you serve our citizens.
Thank you, Wayne. I appreciate it.
When we come back, we'll talk with Officer Adrian Massey. Stay with us. Welcome back to On Patrol. I'm Wayne Wright. I'm now joined by Officer Adrian Massey. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me here, Wayne.
What are the benefits of conducting neighborhood meetings with the presence of code enforcement being right there next to you as you conduct these meetings?
Well, Wayne, I must say having the code enforcement while we're conducting the HOA meeting is a treat of mine, because there are questions that the police department cannot answer, that the community may have about issues of illegal dumping or trash, or some of the neighbors' grass may be growing high. You guys are just fill in right there, and I think this is a great thing that we've made partnership with you guys as we conduct the HOA meetings, because there are questions you guys can answer that we may not know. Also, I think it's one of the perfect ingredients that we've added to the mix here in order for us to fight crime within our communities in South Fulton.
Right. That's interesting because as we conduct homeowner association meetings, I think it's an attribute to the agencies in the county, whether it be police, fire, code, public works, because when you conduct homeowner meetings, a citizen don't really know who's responsible for handling certain situations in the county. And we get it all the time, but I think it's an attribute when all agencies can come together and not just pass the buck, but you're all in the same setting and you can answer questions as needed. Why is it important for Neighborhood Watch? How important is Neighborhood Watch for communities in organizing a Neighborhood Watch and being affiliated with your local police department?
Neighborhood Watch is very important. In order for anything to actually go upon dealing with the crime, our police department, we try and push this upon. We try to actually give the information to the community in order to have a neighborhood watch within their community, because it actually gets everyone involved. It builds a partnership.
Right.
And once you get the community involved in what's going on in the place where they live, they have a great meaning to understand that their phone call is very important.
Right.
We want to make sure that anything that goes in within that community, that the people who stay there, they are connected with the police department. We want them to also understand they're on staff with us as well.
Right.
Because the crime happens there. We can't solve any crime unless we have someone else involved who stays there in the community.
Right. You know, I've heard about the Neighborhood Watch program, and I've seen you guys do your demonstrations and talk about the program. And I hear you talk about being a nosy neighbor. And
Yes, sir.
being a nosy neighbor doesn't mean getting in your neighbor's business, but it just means being alert, paying attention to your surroundings.
Correct.
How does a community become involved in Neighborhood Watch? Does it require the subdivision or the homeowners association registering for Neighborhood Watch? I understand there are signs that go up in the community. How do they go about doing that?
Well, all it takes is a phone call, Wayne. Once a phone call is made to our special service department that this a particular community wants to get involved or have the neighborhood watch within their area, a officer is assigned with them. We meet with the community on a particular date that is good for them. Mm-hmm. We give them great information on what they need to do to start up the neighborhood watch. And once we go forth on that, there are actually 3 meetings that we would like them to actually have before we get everything on the road and ready to go. And after we do that, signs are placed up in the community to let them know that this community here, we're here where our eyes are open and we're ready to go to work.
Right, great. When conducting homeowner meetings, are you guys able to provide crime statistics for particular neighborhoods, statistical data that's intimate to that particular neighborhood when you go out and speak with them to let them know what occurred during the month or whatever month you're speaking at their meeting?
Correct. Well, I'm glad you asked that question. We do provide the stats and the statistics in that area for us, the crime activity. Actually, we also try to encourage everyone within the neighborhood that they can also go on www.crimereports.com. Okay. And what that also gives them the information, what's going on within their community. But we try and stress to them that we need them to call about any activity or something that they may feel that may be of interest for the police department to respond to, because if we don't receive a call, it's no way we can come out and deal with the situation and make sure the stats or whatever the case may be is put on records.
Wow, that's interesting. I didn't know that. And what's that website again?
That website is www.crimereports.com.
Okay. Does a special services unit or division, do you work certain hours? Do you have set shifts? Or does it vary based on the needs of the community?
Well, it depends. It's our schedule can change. It just depends what is going on. If it's a need for us to work a set hours, it may be early morning hours, it may be evening. We just make the adjustments to the situation so we can deal with the problem or the crimes that's occurring. So we try to set our element depending upon the crime.
Wow. You mentioned earlier how important it is to call 911. Oftentimes, citizens may see questionable activity that's taking place in their community, and they'll turn the other way and kind of look
Right.
the other way and not call 911. What do you recommend in terms of calling 911 when you see something that's questionable that you may not be certain about?
We encourage everyone, if you see something that may be questionable to you, or an issue or something, we ask them to call 911 each time, each and every time. And the reason why we ask them to do that, once the police officer comes on scene, we would like to try to make that determination if a situation, if we're needed there.
Right.
But we want you to make that call.
Right.
Yeah.
That's very important because I've seen you guys give statistical data at meetings, and someone might say, well, I saw a strange vehicle in my subdivision a month ago, and I didn't see a police officer respond. And the first thing I hear you guys say, well, did you call? And they say, well, no, I didn't call.
Correct.
Well, that particular incident won't get registered in the statistical data, correct?
That is correct.
Right.
That's why we want them to make that call, sir.
Wow. Oftentimes people wonder, how does one get involved in law enforcement? How did you get involved in law enforcement? Was it a childhood aspiration, or was it something that just happened for you?
Well, actually, Wayne, I think it's something just happened, but I always had an interest in helping people. And this was one way that I could put that to work within my community. Also, self-fulfillment as well, you know, doing something that I have passion for and doing,
Right.
helping others, and just trying to be of service to my community.
Right. Well, Officer Massey, you mentioned something that I agree with, having passion. You know, I think that's why we all as public servants do what we do, because we have a passion and a drive to serve citizens and self-fulfillment. So we commend you guys for the job that you do on a day-to-day basis. I know it's tough. A lot of times the police department is running into situations that citizens are running away from.
Correct.
So the alternative to deal with those situations is to call 911. So we applaud you for the job you do every day, and it's a very respectful profession to be in. A lot of people don't realize it until you actually work in that profession. So we just like to commend you and your staff and your colleagues for the jobs you do on a day-to-day basis.
Well, Wayne, thank you for that, but I also like to say thank you for code enforcement, because you guys' job is very important. A lot of people don't really know what you guys do, but it is very important. And thank you for the great job you guys are doing as well.
Well, thank you, Officer Massey, and that's why we have you guys here today, because as I stated earlier, it was transparent. It was a great transition for code enforcement to become a part of the police department. It's that extra set of eyes and ears out there. We long since worked together on a number of different projects, so it just provided it was a win-win situation and beneficial for the citizens of Fulton County.
I totally agree.
Right. So thanks for being with us today.
Thank you.
Okay. Up next, grab a pen. We'll have details on how you can report these types of code enforcement issues in your community. Stay with us. As we wrap up our show today, we want to let you know that Fulton County has a dedicated team of professionals in its code enforcement and police division. Each employee is determined to keep the community in which it serves clean and by all means up to code and safe. But we can't do it alone. We need the eyes of every resident in unincorporated Fulton County to help us get the job done. So if you see something, say something. Call us on the tail line. That's 404-612-8355. And by all means, if you witness criminal violations, simply dial 911. You can also send us an email with a photo of the property in question. Send the email to clickit@fultoncountyga.gov. A special thank you not only to our guest today, but also to you for watching On Patrol. I'm Wayne Wright, and I'll see you next time.